All right, Ryan Camp. I wanted to call you Coach Camp. And I said, how old are you? And you said 19. I was like, wait, this guy's 21, 22, youngest coach I've ever seen. But actually, you're an athlete, student athlete at Buena Vista.
Yep. I'll be a sophomore next season.
And you go from the south
all the way up to top
Iowa.
left. Yep.
Okay, tell me about that transition for you.
Well, there weren't a lot of wrestling schools in Georgia, and I knew that I really wanted to wrestle. And so I got a call from Brees, and it just felt like the perfect fit. And everything kind of like meshed together, like the culture that I established with the high school and the culture that he's building up there with the new program made it a really smooth and easy transition. Like there weren't really any bumps in the road along the way. Like the program that he has building right now is really, really solid.
Luan's the only other dude I know that's done that. I think there's a couple UNI guys. Luan, Hodges,
Yep.
That's the only other dudes I know that went from Georgia to Iowa. Is it like
something about those Georgia to Iowa kids?
Is it culture shock?
A little bit. Not too bad. I'd say the biggest thing is the sweet tea. There's none up there.
You guys get into that Iowa D3, D2 league it's nails, man.
Yeah, it's brutal.
It is unbelievable the level of Division II, Division III wrestling in the state of Iowa.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know about that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. Like the IAC conference itself, I think we had like 4 of us were in the top 25 this season, so it's ridiculous. Every conference duel is crazy.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it because we had a compound, we had a C3 up there in Waverly, or Shell Rock, whichever, I think it's actually a town, but Waverly, Iowa.
Yeah.
They had it up there, which is by UNI, and I was impressed with what I saw because that's where Wartburg is. Yeah. So it's pretty impressive. But looking at, where's my man, Coach Brees? I got to know that right now because I like Coach Brees.
This weekend's his wife's birthday, so he couldn't make it down, and he's getting ACL surgery next week too.
Brees still scrap?
Yeah.
Getting that knee fixed, huh?
Yep.
That's pretty, he's a PA guy, right?
Yeah.
So you look at, he comes from the richest part of recruiting country. You're a Georgia guy. Mm-hmm. Georgia's really developed. What do you think's different about how things are in Iowa, Pennsylvania, where Brees is from, and, to Georgia? How have you guys developed and become more competitive, do you think?
I've seen like a switch flick over these past few years since when I've graduated here to like these kids now. And I think this camp or program, what Yates is doing here, has a lot to do with it, bringing in these D1 schools. Because when I was graduating, there weren't anyone really looking to Georgia to recruit, and everyone's looking at Pennsylvania and Iowa because that's where like the big names come out of. But what we're doing here, I think, has a big impact on putting Georgia on the map for high school wrestling and getting kids out of Georgia into big schools.
What's your major?
Physics.
I'm sorry to lie. It's like not a normal major I hear. I normally hear like communications or psychology. Yeah. In looking at coaching, do you think, you're here, you're going to send Brees some names as my guess.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not in an official capacity, but, when you talk to Coach Brees, what do you guys look for, and what is he looking for, and what's Buena Vista looking for?
Obviously, we're looking for athletes, but we're looking at the person also. Like, one of his goals is to always have at least one Scholar All-American each year. So we're looking for kids that do the right thing on the mat, and they're also doing the right thing off the mat. They're going to classes every day. They're good students. They're good kids. Just all-around athletes and people.
What's the one thing you want people to know about, going from Georgia to Iowa?
Going away from home isn't as bad as everyone makes it seem. Like, you get homesick, but especially with the program that BVU has, they make you feel like you're a part of a big family. So just because there's that huge distance doesn't really mean that it feels like you're that far away, because it begins to feel like you're home.
Got some guys about to scrap here. You got anything else for me?
Not really.
Hey, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Safe travels. Enjoy the heat down here in Georgia while you're home for the summer, all right?
Thanks.